Okay, hello. I'm gonna make a recording of some of the cool stuff that this site does. But before I get into that, a couple of disclosures here. First of all, I have COVID, so I sound like shit. Sorry. Um, Two, the front end of this is pretty much vibe coded. Like I don't do front end development very much. I work primarily on search operations in my job. So the AI features that uh, are part of this site that I'll show here in a minute, and the back end search functionality is what I spent most of my time working on. Um, and I'll talk about like some of the technology that goes behind the scenes a little bit, but the front end, like I know my way around React and TypeScript to debug it, but um, and I guess to do some validation on the code that's being written by, well, in this case, Claude code. But I'm not a UI designer. I will never want to be one probably. So until I find a UI designer who's willing to help out with this, make it better, I'm just gonna keep working with what I am good at, which is, um, back end stuff. So anyway, all this is to say, yes, I did some vibe coding on this. Don't hate, right? I'm doing all this myself, and I don't have the skill set to do front end stuff, so I cheated. But you know what? I made a pretty good back end, and that's what I want to highlight on here. So let's look at it. All right, let's get into it. First thing I'll show this is a homepage when you first log or when you first land. Let me just get you here without anything fancy. Okay, so here's where you go. Keep it clean, pretty simple. You have a scanner, you have your deck management, collection, and search. It's mobile optimized as well too. So, if you're looking at it on a mobile device, you get pretty similar or pretty optimized experience for the most part. I still have some work to do, but it works good enough. All right, so we'll sign in, and I do encrypt everything with 256. So, this is all safe. If you go, you can get stuff in a couple different ways. Like if you just want to start searching for cards, I recommend just head to the search. Get there, here. The top navigation just kind of follows you around. Let's start there because I think that this is what I spent the most time working on, and it's pretty fast. Like I gotta say. So I don't know. Let's look up. I don't know. Hey, what's a good card to search?
Blightsteel Colossus.
Blightsteel Colossus. Cool. That was quick. I didn't do any editing, any fancy stuff. That's literally how fast it is. And I can make it strict too. Now I don't get any results if in strict mode because I have to actually spell Colossus, which I can't remember how to do. COLOSSUS. All right. So if I go strict, then I only get Blightsteel Colossus results, and that's really fast. So when you get a card result here, you can also click into it, and it will load, the stuff you typically expect to see: edition information, Oracle text, errata if it's applicable, pricing. You get to the different price places. You can actually manage from your collection from these results. You can say I want to add, this much and foil or not here. But there's a bunch of different ways you can get to your collection, which I'll touch on later. You can pin cards, which is kind of cool. I don't really know why my girlfriend wanted this feature, but I added it. So
if you're working on a deck and you've got your commander, you're looking through your search cards and you can't remember what the heck your commander does.
Yeah.
Anybody like me that has a terrible memory.
Yeah. So anyway, you can do that, and you can actually pin several at a time if you want to, and it does some fancy animations. I don't know. Like I said, the AI helped with this part. I just like the idea. All right. So let's try a different search. Let's try, I don't know, Ristic Study. I spelled Ristic wrong, didn't I? Yeah, it has an H, doesn't it? Yep. Okay, so that is fast. Like, I don't care who you are, that's quick. I spent a lot of time trying to make sure that it's really, really quick while not using much resources. Like the back end for all this stuff is try to do it as inexpensively as possible since I'm not really making any money off this. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. You can do facets, right? So what if I only want to see the mythic versions of this card? Yeah, that's a thing. And these facets are dynamic, so they will pop. What you see here is always going to be applicable to what the results are. That's pretty cool, I guess. The back end search appliance, so this is Elasticsearch, which is an open source project, and it handles facet search really well already. So, yeah, so I just made it do that. All right, let's keep going. So besides the search, which again, I tried to make it really fast, really snappy, we've got the collection. The collection's also pretty quick. It uses the same backend, although it keeps reference of like what you in your profile are utilizing in a Postgres database. It makes all of the calls to get the information about the cards back to that Elasticsearch backend. So keeps the persistent values of what it needs to remember belong to you as an individual in Postgres, and then gets all the actual card information from Elastic. The combination of the two is how I was able to make it fast as it is. And then there's a text helper text here, kind of suggests you could search by name, Oracle text, like you can do flying, and you get your flying cards, or the cards with the word flying in it, right? I'll probably enhance that later, make it support more Scryfall options. Something I really like is that whenever I search for cards, I usually go set and number. So I don't know, CNC 116. I did that. Did I do that wrong? Yeah, I did do that wrong. It's Z. I'll just dust more than one. DSK 6. So DSK 6. Right? You can just do the card set code and number, and you'll get your results that way too. I usually search that way, so I wanted to make sure it supported that. Okay, what else can you do? That's a cool feature, right? If someone gives you a list of cards, like, I don't know, let me get a list from my girlfriend here. She sent me one a while back. Oh, it was a long time ago, wasn't it?
Not a long time ago, however, we do send a rather large amount of messages to each other.
Yeah, okay, I got one here. All right, so here's a list of cards. Just drop those in. Whoa! Not our entire message history. Let's try that again. Copy. Ugh, I hate that. Okay. All right, let me get it from one of the Discord servers. Yeah, here we go. I'll talk about what this does. So it'll support just any list of stuff, where you could take like a wish list from Moxfield or something like that. And then you can just click check cards. It'll tell you which of those cards you have in your collection, the quantity that you have versus what person's looking, what you don't have, some codes, the ones that you do have, and the current values. Pretty useful for figuring out if you have cards in someone's trade list. I don't think anyone's done that feature, so I wanted to do that. That was another suggestion from my girlfriend. She's kind of smart. That was another suggestion from you. You're kind of smart. And then, your standard import from CSV. I've got Architect, Mana Box, Untapped, and just any list of Scryfall IDs. I'll add Moxfield, Dragon Shield, others later, whenever I feel like it. I don't know. Whenever someone says, hey, I wish you had that, or when I feel like it. And then, refresh button. Just rebuilds the cache. So same thing here, facets, dynamic based off of what you have in your collection. I have a Chinese card. Apparently I have a Chinese card. I didn't even know that. Yeah. And you can do, so it does and or logic. So you could say, give me green and black. And so it's going to give me any green, any black, any green, anything with green in it, anything with black in it. Right, so the necrotic sliver is showing up here because it has black in it. But if I change this to all, then it must contain all of those. And that's a good way to find your multicolor, right? So that works pretty good. Apparently it doesn't filter out the other stuff, so I should probably fix that later. Maybe I'll add any all or only as a third option. I don't know. So that's a collection. There's a little bit more to the collection. You can, if you don't like the view here, you can change this to show more or less. Defaults to 6. You can select multiples. So when you're selecting multiples, you can add them to your trade list or your binders. You remove them from stuff. Select all in that page. Deselect all on the page. You can uncheck that to go out of the select multiple. Now you can also, you'll see the little move icon appearing over these things, right? You can click and move them into this binders area or to the trash to delete them. And this binders area you can manage, right? So you can build new binders. Just call it like my white rares. Make that binder. And then, if I wanted to like say, just get my white cards. Oh, I'm dumb. White cards, all. So now I'm just filtering and I can just put those in white rares. Yay. If I wanted to be a little bit more smart about that, I could say rarity. I only want rare and mythic rare. I can only do one at a time. Okay. So only rare. And I'll say select multiple. And I'll just select all. And I'll add them all to the white rares. Yay. Okay, now they're all in white rares. They get tagged with that little label. You go to the white rares and it'll have what you added. You can come in here and say select multiples again. Oops, and select all. You say remove from all binders. And nothing in any binders. Cool. Sweet. What are we doing with our lives? I guess there is a treat the angels now. I'll remove from binder. You can just click and drag. So I tried to build click and drag functions, and I also tried to build multi-select so people could do whatever they want to do. The click and drag works here too, right? So you can drag stuff that way. In the list view, which is what I changed here, you can sort. Talk about the condition here in a second because I actually got a pretty cool feature working for that. But you can sort by rarity. You can sort by any of these column headers. And they should, I don't know, do the thing. Price is probably what gets used most here. And you'll have the most expensive stuff show first, right? Oh, yeah, my 3-Tree City. It's a good card. It is in foil, too. Yay. All right. Let's look at decks. So some features. Oh, wait, before we do that. For your collection, we can view details same way as you do in your search results. You can edit your current values of what's in your deck. So you could say, you can change your card number and set if you need to make a correction. Easy right here. Your quantity, the condition you can set here. You can toggle whether or not it's foil. You can add it straight to an existing binder here. Yeah, you could add so many notes you want to about this card, like, hi, I'm, or just, I don't know, hi. That's stupid. It's a miracle. Because it's a miracle card. It doesn't do anything other than just like next time I view the details here. Maybe I have to refresh. I can't remember now. I should probably fix that. Yeah, just has my notes here. So right now the notes only show up in the notes field when you're doing stuff. Maybe leave a note for yourself for your edits. I don't know. I'll probably show that up in the page somewhere, but I haven't done that yet. Okay. So that's that. Okay, and then you have your trade list here, right? So basically I'll talk about the social features later, but when you add something to trade list, it's kind of like a binder that you can't remove. And I didn't add that correct, I guess. Trade. There, now it's added. All right. So now it's in my trade list. That'll become important in a second. I'm going to leave it there for now. All right. I have my decks. So these are decks I've cataloged. Bunch of different weird features here. So stuff that's pretty unique that you won't see in other places, I don't think. Let's look at Vivi. So Vivi, when we're looking at him, we see he's a commander, right? That's the format. It automatically displays that or changes that based off of the format that you specify when you create a deck. Creation of decks looks like this. Do your deck name, your format. Casual doesn't apply any validation. It's like whatever you want. Whereas the others have the standard format rules. So like standard no more or no less than 60 cards. And if you have a banned card in there, it will warn you. Or if you have a card that's like not part of the current standard rotation, it should tell you. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm like said I'm sick. So, you can search for your cover card. So like you see the picture of the Vivi there. If I just search for Vivi, I'll get Vivi options here. I can pick the one I want, and that's the art that I'll end up using on that. Right. Okay, and then tracked or untracked. So what this is, I hate it with like some of the other services. I won't name them here. But if I wanted to take a deck that I've cataloged and include it in my collection, once I've done that, I can't undo that, and that would corrupt my collection pretty quickly. So it basically made it so I had to maintain an independent spreadsheet of my collection that I would have to make updates to whenever I would then make changes to my physical collection, right? Because I'm tracking my physical collection on the site. So what this does, let me show you kind of in action, right? So Vivi is 100 cards, right? And currently it's not tracked, so it's not part of my collection. If you look up at the top corner here, you'll see that the collection shows $15,552 and $7,509. Right? If I remember those numbers, okay? If I go to decks and I click on edit here for Vivi, and I change that to tracked and I save the changes. And then what I do is if I go back to my collection and refresh, you'll see that the total cards went up. It went up for the number of cards that were not already accounted for in my collection. I think there might actually be a bug here because that number is... Oh, no, that's right. That's just 100 cards exactly. Okay, yeah. So when I do that, it then adds those cards to my collection, kind of like you would see if you did like the add to collection option from some of those other sites. But here's the thing. If I want to, I can go to my deck, I can edit it and stop tracking it, and then refresh. And it goes back to the number that it was before, right? Price dropped by about $400, and the collection number dropped by exactly 1,000. Oh, sweet, my couch is here. Okay, so that's was important to me, right? And then the colors for the commander identity automatically populate themselves. Let me get into the actual builder here in a second, but it's not actually based off this cover card. It's based off of what you set in the commander in the builder. Before I do that, the last toggle here is whether or not it's a public deck, which there are social sharing features that are part of this. If it's public here, there's a secondary permission, modular permission, that determines whether your decks are visible at all. And if that's set to true, then it falls back to this setting, where if this setting is also public, then it will show up in your public stuff. That way, if you're like still working on something, you don't necessarily have to have it show up. All right, so and just one more note: the edit view is exactly the same as the new deck view, identical, right? Okay, in the builder, so this is when you're actually building decks. Okay, you can search your cards here and add them to your deck as you go. If you've chosen the commander format for the deck that you're building, there'll be an area here for the command zone. And if you don't have a card currently, so I'll delete this to demonstrate it. Okay, so right now this deck's not playable because it doesn't have a commander. So we'll search for Vivi again. And I only have this version. So since this doesn't currently have a commander in it, I have the option to say, I can click this commander here. Is that the right one? I don't know what's the difference. Oh yeah, no, it's this one. Okay. So I could say commander, and then he adds it to my command zone. I built this to have support partner and background, but I don't have any partner or background commanders to show that, so I'll do that in a different video, I guess. Honestly, I haven't tested it, so I probably should do that first. But yeah, so that's the builder. You can get the list view here too if you prefer. Yeah, it's all pretty snappy, pretty fast. This is the same search that you use when you access the search here. So it should have any cards that you want to add, right? It doesn't do collection specific, but that's, again, the idea of the track of the untracked. If you're pulling from your existing collection, you wouldn't track it. If you're cataloging cards, then you would track it in your collection. So that's that. And then last thing I'll show on this is, well, it's two more things to show on this. There's this idea of your active deck. So like if you're building something, you can click set as active. And we can see my active deck is Vivi. We go to open details, we get taken to our deck builder. The active deck, I'll show you why that matters in a minute, but we can set it as active or inactive here, change what you're working on in your active, and that works as the way you'd expect it to, basically. Before I show you what that does, let me show you the last feature here in the deck view. It's the deck analysis. So there's two parts to this. Standard stuff you might expect, right? Pricing breakdown, how many are proxies, how many are real, mana curve, mana symbols, card types, rarities, categories, land, non-land split, tokens needed, most valuable card breakdown. And then there's this pro analysis. Right now I'm going to keep making this free. If it gets really popular, I might have to paywall it because it actually uses generative AI, and that costs me money. But right now it's free. It'll probably stay that way for a little while at least. So you click on get analysis, and this is what I spent time coding. Well, that not just this, but the Elasticsearch. So the search backend and all of those facets and all that stuff is what I wrote, and then the AI relevance tuning and all that stuff I spent a bunch of time on too. It takes a little while, but usually it's pretty worth it. Usually. And what it's going to do is try and determine, based off of what legality makes sense in the format and all this stuff, what sort of considerations you might do for additions, subtractions, replacements, that kind of stuff. It's not perfect. It's generative AI, right? And generative AI is known to hallucinate, but it has been useful for a lot of people that have tested this. They found at least 1 or 2 suggestions from this, and they're like, oh, heck yeah, you need to include that. Okay, so here's what we got. We got a strategy analysis. It gets an idea of what the deck is trying to do. Parses some themes, which is kind of cool. Right, so wizards, big theme, right? In case you want to try and lean into that tribal. Mana acceleration, obviously there's tons of that since it's Vivi. Card draw engines, bunch of different card draw stuff, right? 20 different card draw engines. Token generation, not so much of that. Cost reduction, not so much of that, but a little bit. Tutors, some of that, right? You get the idea, right? I don't care about brackets, so I didn't put any of that kind of stuff in here. I might later, but honestly, I think brackets should go to hell. Anyway, so here's some suggestions of some things to add. It gives you a score of like, is this a good or bad addition? And then it gives you kind of the logic of why it decided to do this. These aren't always great, right? And I want to qualify with this. Like, it doesn't understand the game itself and the practicality of every situation, but it does do its best, I will say, to try and give you pretty good logic behind why it's making some suggestions. Sometimes I've even been surprised. Like, I was like, oh, I never actually thought of that. That's actually pretty smart. Yeah, like they're reading Fling. I'm like, yeah, Fling makes sense, actually. I should put that in there. And I own a copy, so may as well. And that's another thing, too, is it highlights stuff that you have in your collection first. Next, you have, like, hey, these are some cards you might consider obtaining. And to notice everything that it's recommending follows the color identity of the commander, which is good. It's supposed to. And then, like, here's some suggestions, like, hey, you might consider cutting these. It doesn't have great cut suggestions. There's only one where it's like, really, there's no sensible reason for this card to be here, which I kind of agree with, honestly, on this one. So, that works pretty good. It's not super expensive on the generative AI side, so hopefully I can just keep this free for as long as I can. But if if it gets really popular, I might have to paywall this in the future. I don't know. We'll see. I hope I don't have to, but we'll see. All right. So that's decks. Now, we have an active deck. If you recall, Ban Vivi's still active, right? And if I go to Q, I'll demonstrate this real time. I'm going to make Vivi illegal here. Hey, Millie, do you have a magic card laying around?
I do not.
I'll grab one from my other room here. I'm just going to grab the first card I see. All right, so it's not going to make any sense to go in a Vivi deck, but I don't care. Sue me. All right, the card is going to be Aeronaut Cavalry. All right. All this will matter here in a second, right? It's not just our Aeronaut Cavalry. It's from Brothers. It's card number 1 of 287. It's not foil, and it is near mint condition. Okay, so remember all that. I'm going to say, here in the queue, I'm going to scan cards. Oops. I clicked the wrong thing. You can't scan from your webcam, but your phone works better. So you click the QR code. I'm doing this on my phone. And it opens up to that same scan page on your mobile device, already authenticated with your user. And gives you a full, like... Here, I'll see if I can turn on my camera so that you can see what the phone view looks like. This is real. Don't like. This is real janky, right? Don't make fun of me. I'll add a video capture device. Oh, my camera's not plugged in. Oh, that's fine. I'll do a separate video and I'll show this part. Actually, here, maybe I can just do it in a different tab. Yeah, this should work. Well, no, it won't. I'm dumb. Because I don't have a camera. Oh, no, it does work. Okay, so that's kind of what the UI looks like. I don't have a camera plugged in. What are you trying to use on here? I don't know. And you would see the actual camera load up with the card art here, right? I'll do a different video later showing what this actually looks like when you scan it and stuff. But it's broken right now, or it's not broken right now, but it can't do it on a desktop while I'm recording. So anyway, we want to watch this because this is what is going to dynamically update asynchronously. Okay, so I'm going to scan the card. And within a few seconds, it will assess that it was Aeronaut Cavalry, right? It sees that it was 01 from Bro. It sees that it's not foil. And it also detected that it was near mint. Now, here's where that other active deck is important, right? So the active deck that I currently have selected is Ban Vivi. I could change that here if I wanted to. If I accept this, it will drop it straight into Ban Vivi. If I had this set to collection only and I accept it, it will drop it straight into my collection. I'll put it in Ban Vivi, which is currently untracked. We can also toggle in auto approve if the confidence is over 70%. But we'll just, for time's sake, we'll just do the one. So I will approve it. And now if I go to my decks, this is now considered illegal because I thought I put a tooltip on here. Well, because it has a white card in it and it shouldn't. So I forgot the name of that already. Starts with an A. Oh, yeah. Aeronaut Cavalry. There it is. So delete that. And now the deck's legal again. Okay. And notice none of that messes with the collection. That's all just separate, right? So yeah, so you can add cards to decks through the builder. You can add the cards to your collection through the search. And you can also scan stuff and add it this way, right? Go back to just non-collection only, no active decks. Scan your phone here. And again, you can just tackle this to auto approve anything. As long as the confidence score is over 70%, it'll send it through. Q will show you what you currently have pending, how many you have pending. And if it's really fun when you get 100 cards, you catalog a new commander deck or something, and you click accept all, the queue drains really fast, and it's really satisfying. I love it. Okay, last piece I'll show. There's a wiki. I'll just mention we're reworking this right now. Like I said, I had AI write this. It's pretty bad, so my my partner is working on rewriting it like a human and making it better. So once that's done, this will be much more useful. Maybe I'll even put this video on here. But the last thing I'll show is, I'm not going to show you the admin console. That's just for me to see. But the last thing I'll show here is the profile. So if you are in your profile, you'll see your full email address. I don't mind. This is a burner account, so just show you this email. You can spam it all you want because I don't check it. You can change a password from here. You can delete your entire collection. You can permanently delete your entire account. Got to do that GDPR compliance stuff. And then you can make your profile completely private, or you can make your profile public. If you make it public, you copy this link, share it with somebody, and I'll show you what they see. I have to change Windows for that. Maybe. I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure what happens if I'm authenticated. Okay, yeah, it still works even authenticated. Whoops. All right. So, what am I looking at here? This is the public profile. It's instantiated, but it's also dynamic. So if you send this to somebody, as you make changes, it automatically updates. It's not a snapshot. And then, like I said, you can modularly control what you're sharing as part of your public profile. So if I want to make my profile public, but I only want to share my wish list and trade list, you can do that. And then back here, if I refresh, now I'm only seeing wish list and trade list. Okay, if I click on trade list, I see, well, I'm authenticated. So let me sign out first so that you can see what it looks like if you're not authenticated. Log out. Okay. So that's what the trade list looks like when you're not authenticated, right? It just shows the cards that belong on that user's trade list. And similarly, the wish list, only the cards that user is shown on their wish list. This can be accessed without authentication, but as soon as you try to go anywhere that would require authentication, you actually got to go sign in. All right. So I think that's basically it. If you like this work so far, oh yeah, and you can collapse that if you want more space. Okay, quick walkthrough of the mobile views of each of these. They're not all optimized, but I'm slowly doing more and more. See, my phone screen is about this big. All right, so the home page, right, pretty straightforward. The search works pretty well. So Sol Ring. Yeah, sure. You can access your wish list here. You can filter here, right? And yeah. And then in the queue, when you scan cards, you can click here. And then you're taken to this. You can exit. You go back to your queue. Deck view, also optimized for mobile. The builder, not so much. Yeah, I still got to work on the builder. But at least the deck view is pretty good. And then the analysis is also mobile optimized. The collection, I believe, is mobile optimized. You can still do the drag and drop features. No, you can't. I might need to remove that. Okay, well, anyway. I'll just make it default to select multiples and let people do it that way. A couple of bugs in the mobile view, but kind of good enough. I don't know. We'll see. All right, and then the wiki, also mobile optimized. Okay. Last but not least, profile, also mobile optimized. Okay, that's pretty much it. If you like what you're seeing so far, you can always use a little bit more help, a little bit of funding for some of the resources. This is primarily running in DigitalOcean app services for the like Postgres and some of the backend code. The front end is all being handled through Vercel. I have that set up with a pro account, so it uses caching to help things go faster. And then the primary there's another DigitalOcean droplet that powers the updates to the Scryfall, and pricing data libraries, as well as the vectors for the semantic and vector search that's behind the scenes in Elasticsearch to power the search functions. And then there's, of course, an Elasticsearch cluster running in the background. It's a real tiny cluster, but it doesn't have to be big. And I maintain that directly, like a physical box. So that's kind of it. If you like what you see and want to help us out a little bit, feel free to drop a dono in that in our coffee. And yeah, I'll just keep building and hopefully it gets better and better. But I hope this was at least interesting, and bye.